The scene shifts to Abel, who stands quietly beneath the sky, her gaze distant as she reflects on the moment. It's the final day of the test, she thinks to herself. Her eyes wander upward toward the sky, and she can't help but wonder how the others have fared so far. Did they manage to hold on? Elsewhere, Rachel checks the time on her phone, her expression tense. Just then, Batten stirs awake, rubbing his eyes groggily as he notices Rachel standing nearby. It's not even dawn yet, Batten murmurs with a yawn. You haven't slept at all, Rachel? Rachel doesn't look away from her phone. It already is dawn, she replies curtly. Batten blinks, confused. What? That can't be right. With growing irritation, Rachel turns to him. I said the sun rose a while ago. Still disoriented, Batten squints at the sky. Then why is it still pitch black? He mutters, frowning. Is it just me, or are you sure you're really the runner-up in the written exam? Rachel snaps, her patience clearly running thin. She adds, it's almost time to return to the academy. We need to get back to the return point, quickly. Around them, the atmosphere is thick with unease. Other cadets have begun gathering since the day before, each one appearing equally puzzled by the unnatural darkness. Murmurs spread among them as they look around nervously, whispering questions to one another. Hasn't the sun already risen? Why is it still so dark? What's going on? Rachel glances at the horizon once more, and then back at Batten, her voice lower this time, tinged with unease. Either way, this doesn't feel like a good sign. The scene abruptly cuts to the battleground, where chaos brews. Siegfried and Ager stare in stunned disbelief as Kong Jiama completes his transformation before them. Ager's heart races. What she's sensing is impossible. That's Hoken's energy, Ager whispers, her voice trembling. But how? How is this kid radiating Hoken's power? As Kong lands on the ground, the truth strikes her with a jolt. It really is him. Kong Jiama. And yet, his aura carries the unmistakable mark of Hoken. How is he using Hoken's power? She mutters, her mind racing. I was careless. I thought. No. I knew. Hoken was just a human. There's no way he could still be alive. Panic creeps into her thoughts. This situation was already bad, but now it's far worse. Ager's new body, still unfamiliar and underpowered, is a poor match for what stands before her. Her judgment, too, feels clouded, and she can't comprehend how Kong managed to replicate Hoken's power so precisely in the strike he landed earlier. On the other side, Siegfried, severely injured and barely staying conscious, can only watch, utterly lost. He drops to one knee, unable to make sense of what's happening. Then Kong approaches. Without a word, he raises a hand, and a soft glow surrounds Siegfried. A surge of energy rushes through him. In a matter of seconds, his wounds vanish, completely healed. Siegfried stares at himself in disbelief. My injuries, they're gone, just like that? What kind of power is this? Kong doesn't answer. Instead, he closes his eyes for a brief moment. When he opens them again, crackling lightning begins to swirl around him like a cloak. The air hums with raw energy. And then, without warning, he disappears. Before Ager can even react, Kong reappears directly behind her. She gasps. I didn't even see him move. She thinks, terrified. Something's wrong. Very wrong. She can't read his movements, can't follow his strikes. Is it just her weakened body? No, this is something else entirely. This is beyond perception, she whispers to herself. Kong Jiama, he's not human anymore. Faced with no other option, Ager makes a decision. She clenches her fists, gathering her remaining strength. Fine then, she mutters. You leave me no choice. She speaks aloud, her tone regretful yet resolute. About what I said earlier. I take it back. You're more than worthy to be the demon lord's vessel. She raises both hands, channeling a terrifying surge of dark magic. But if I don't defeat you right here and now, you'll become the greatest threat to demonkind's future. The air ignites with hellish heat as she activates her most powerful spell, Black's Flame. A torrent of demonic fire explodes toward Kong. Even Siegfried, standing at a distance, can feel the immense heat. Ager's eyes narrow with grim determination. See you later, Kong Jiama. The spell roars toward its target, but Kong doesn't move. Siegfried gasps. Why isn't he dodging? Kong simply stands there, lightning flickering across his form, and then the flames reach him. At that critical moment, Kong activated a series of divine blessings. First came the blessing of flexibility, followed by the blessing of regeneration and the blessing of transference. As a final surge of energy flooded the battlefield, the blessing of the sword god began to release its power. Standing tall amidst the chaos, Kang's voice echoed with unshakable resolve. I will bring everything down. As Aeger's devastating spell surged toward him, Kong gripped his sashimi blade tightly. With a swift, precise motion, he unleashed a strike empowered by the heavenly sword technique. The sheer force of his counterattack didn't just stop the incoming spell, it completely shattered it. The wave of energy, rather than dissipating, continued forward and crashed into Aeger herself. Caught off guard, Aeger's eyes widened in disbelief. The force of Kang's strike hit her directly, sending her crashing to the ground with brutal impact. The scene abruptly shifted. Back at the return point, the students who had been anxiously waiting looked up at the sky. Slowly, the thick, ominous clouds began to part. The first rays of sunlight broke through the darkness, casting golden beams across the earth. Murmurs spread among the cadets as they stood, speechless, mesmerized by the sight of the long-awaited sunrise. Meanwhile, back on the battlefield, Aeger lay sprawled on the scorched ground. Her body was severely injured. She tried to initiate her regeneration spell, but nothing happened. Her body remained limp and broken. It felt as though the very source of mana had been disrupted. Terror crept into her voice as she whispered to herself, "At this rate, I'm going to die." Kong, who had been standing silently in front of her, finally collapsed. His body, overwhelmed by the power he had unleashed, gave out. He fell forward, exhausted, completely drained. Aeger forced herself to move. She gritted her teeth, trying to gather the last remnants of her mana. Her body trembled as she pushed forward. I can't die like this, she thought desperately. If I let Kong live, it will spell catastrophe for all of demonkind. Even if I'm going down, this is my only chance. Channeling every ounce of strength she had left, Aeger conjured one final spell, her signature fire magic. Flames surged in her palm as she prepared to strike down Kong once and for all. But before she could release it, Siegfried, with unwavering resolve, Siegfried charged in, strike at Aeger with his sword, interrupting her final spell. Aeger cried out as the attack connected, her weakened body unable to defend itself. You forgot about me, Siegfried said coldly. You're no different than the sixth commander, Baumon. But I'll admit, your spells were far more powerful than his. Without hesitation, Siegfried unleashed a final technique, his aura sword. The blade glowed with concentrated energy as he struck Aeger down once and for all. Aeger collapsed, defeated. Siegfried spoke with quiet defiance. My name is not a descendant of Eren. My name is Siegfried von Nibelung. With that, he turned and rushed toward Kang's, falling to his knees beside him. His hands moved quickly as he checked for injuries. Kong, hang in there, he murmured. After a moment of inspection, Siegfried sighed in relief. His breathing is steady. A few blocked meridians, but no critical wounds. He's not in immediate danger. Even so, Siegfried couldn't shake the questions racing through his mind. What exactly had Kong become during that earlier transformation? That overwhelming power, that divine presence. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. His thoughts turned inward. What are you, Kong? Long ago, since ancient times, humanity believed that everything in the world carried a will of its own. Storms, floods, and comets falling from the night sky. Such phenomena have always filled mankind with awe and fear. And yet, paradoxically, those very forces were worshipped. People revered them, begged for protection, for favor, for power. Over time, these forces came to be known by many names, calamities, or gods.